A Wangman Cowboy and a Vegan American Dragon go hard, fast, and long for 60 minutes in Garland, Texas. Winter truly is coming, and coming, and coming, and so much coming going on. I'm John Retton with my review of AEW Dynamite from Garland, Texas. Winter truly was coming all over for especially the first hour. My fucking goodness, that match was truly a work of goddamn art. I really should have waited to do my best matches of the year list because that would have absolutely been on it. So I'm just going to slot it in there way after I did the video, and I would probably put it in the top 10. That was really fucking terrific, and I know it's going to be divisive. I know some people don't like the fact that it went to a 60-minute time limit draw, but it does make sense. They wrote themselves into a goddamn corner. If Bryan Danielson had lost the match, and I'll talk about the match, in a little bit, but if Bryan Danielson had lost the match, he might have lost a little bit of steam just with how they've been building him. I mean, you could argue that Bryan Danielson is a self-made man already. I mean, he's a big name. He could take a loss, and that is kind of true. But with the story they're telling, Hangman Page also couldn't have lost, even though it would have been, well, one hell of a goddamn shock. Him losing would have undone a lot of the storytelling that they did. So really all they could do was they either could do a DQ finish, which people really would have hated, or they could have done what they did and done a 60-minute time limit draw with something that could have gone on even longer. They could have done 90 goddamn minutes, but 60 minutes made sense. This could have been a 3-hour Dynamite, the rare 3-hour Dynamite that actually would have been fine. And probably, had some other good storytelling. Maybe you wouldn't have to have rushed a couple things, but then again, given what they announced for Rampage, maybe it's a good thing they just left us wanting more. But anyway, I do want to know what you guys have to say about this show in the comments, please. What do you think of Wangman versus Danielson? I'm sorry, I can't help but see it as Wangman because that's the font they used, and it's just going to be in my head forever. It's a Wangman cowboy on a steel horse he rides. So anyway, Excalibur, Shivani, and Taz on commentary. Get well soon, JR, but if JR needs to be away for a while and just get his treatments and just come back, say sometime in January, February, whatever time he needs. Cancer treatments, radiation treatments, all that stuff, it's no goddamn joke, especially with somebody that has JR's, health issues. He needs all the time to just rest and relax and everything. It's not like they don't have other commentators that can pick up the pieces. Pick up the pieces. So we get a Bryan Danielson entrance. And Wangman and, Hangman, Adam Page. I'll stop with the Wangman stuff, except if you check out, the title, you may already see that I just can't help but get off the Wangman. They can't get off the Wangman. Ugh, it's kind of like just around the river bend. No, it's not like that. So Hangman, Adam Page makes his entrance. Cowboy shit. He has the, the graphic above that. Still holds a, resentment, over Game of Thrones, something like that. Me too. I just have never really cared for Game of Thrones. Anytime I tried to watch it, it just didn't click with me. But anyway, Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. AEW World Title match, big fight feel. The crowd was into it. This was well paced. This was exactly how you do a time limit draw match and keep it interesting. Now, is everybody going to love long matches? No. And there are times where I have not loved certain long matches. Now, I enjoyed what Okada and Omega did when they went to their 60-minute time limit draw. That was very good. And they had that 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit match at Dominion in Osaka in 2018. And Flair and Steamboat had it at, the Clash of Champions. It wasn't a time limit draw, but it was 54 minutes, something like that. They've had plenty of other good matches. The whole point is you can do long matches like that. Shawn Michaels versus John Cena on that Raw in London. You can, again, do long matches. And what they did was really good here. Let's go Bryan, cowboy shit. Let's go Bryan, cowboy shit. The crowd was not quite evenly split, but there was enough support for Bryan Danielson that he was doing his best to heel. He is having the goddamn time of his life. He really is. That's not even a Dirty Dancing reference. He was so enjoying himself. Hangman did use his power. Bryan did do some great heel work and did some great mat work. I got till 5 ref. That was really good. I did like the Cult of Meat with extra cheese sign. If you get it, you get it. Bryan just with beautiful submissions, just, doing the dragon sleeper, doing all that stuff. Great wear down moves, focusing on Hangman's arm and Hangman focusing on Bryan's leg. Doing some really good psychology where they would sell the respective limb that they had hurt, and they would hit some moves. They would sell that stuff, and yes, you could argue that at some points maybe they just stopped selling. Well, that would come back into play after a burst of adrenaline It made sense from a storyline standpoint. This is a fucking terrific match. One of the best TV matches of any company that I've seen in quite a while. I did like the sign where it said, Vince ends more careers than the virus. I'm just going to say that so I don't get flagged. But yes, the virus. That was actually pretty damn funny. And Brian just soaking in the massive, boos but soaking in some of the massive throbbing adulation from the crowd. So, Paige did come back. He had a nice dive. Did moonsault that caught Brian in the head. And then we get, the corner camera shot, which was really, really good. That was really good shit. Paige did get busted open after a post spot. The near falls were great. There were some really, really good counters, really good counter maneuvers. I don't understand why they didn't do the apron bump. They did a couple apron bump. Ouch. That was really, really brutal. We got German for 2. Paige is bleeding quite a bit. Leg focused by Paige. He gets a figure 4 spot on, so he's trying to take away Brian's kick. So Brian has to vary up by using the other leg. 45 minutes in, we go to a triangle, and then we get to the ropes. We get a tombstone out of nowhere for 2. We get the back suplex by Brian, the deadeye on the apron. Ouch again. Why? Stop with the apron bumps. We get the table collision where Paige tries to go for broke like he did against Omega, and it looked like he might have broke his arm. I mean, he didn't, but ouch, that could have gone really, really badly. And, he lands on his feet after another back superplex attempt. Hits a huge lariat. We get a series of near falls. We're 55 minutes in. I encourage you guys to check out this match. I can't encapsulate it as well as they perform, obviously. I mean, you can only talk about a match this great, or even you can only talk about a match this great and this long before you just have to seek it out. If you got this on your DVR, keep it on your DVR. I kept it on DVR. It's fucking great. And, he's kicking his head in. We get a deadeye for 2. Paige is kicking the head in. We get a buckshot. And Brian's stumbling. He's kind of on the ground trying to get up. And then he hits the buckshot. And he's about to go cover. And then the bell rings and the crowd boos because they're chanting 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And they're upset because we got a draw. It makes sense. My only thing is now they've almost wrote themselves into a bigger corner. Brian's got to win the title. What are they going to do? Are they going to stretch this out to Revolution? Are they going to do it at Battle of the Belts on January 8th? I mean, if they do it there, I have no problem with Paige beating Danielson, but I almost think now you're just having where he took Omega to the 30-minute time limit. He took Paige to the limit, so Paige couldn't even beat him in 60 minutes, but at the same time, Danielson couldn't beat him. So now you're opening it for another match, but I wonder if Danielson's going to have to win. Maybe they're going to have somebody else come in. And there were some people that were pissed about the fact that, okay, it went to the time limit. Now, if you didn't care for it because it went to the time limit, if you didn't like it because you thought it went too long, that's fine. I respect that. I'm not going to knock anybody that feels that way. I like long matches when they tell a good story. Jay White versus Kota Ibushi, Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2, was not a good way to do a long match. It was laborious, it was repetitive, and it didn't work for me. They told a great story here, but I can also understand why some people might not like it. And then we get the Super Click and Fish, as I'm calling them, with an Xmas motif, Christmas motif, and all about the best friends. 8-man tag on Rampage. They're going to super kick Trent's mom. This is something that Adam Cole felt that he should do. Whatever, he's with his friends, good for him. They're going to have a Christmas gift next week because it's the holiday special, which probably means that I'm going to be reviewing that Thursday morning and not reviewing it late Wednesday, very early Thursday, because I really wanted to watch this, that 60-minute match, even though I didn't know it was going to be 60 minutes long. I figured it'd go long. I didn't think it'd go this long. And I was like, okay, I'm locked in, might as well watch the rest of it, because by that point, we had barely an hour left of the show. And then we have Wardlow with Spears taking on Matt Sydal, and even though Sydal tried to hit some good shots, he eventually got laid out with a couple power bombs. Spears was yelling at him, just pin him. He's not gonna get up and everything. But the crowd's chanting one more time. He hits another power bomb and gets him 1, 2, 3. And then Spears is all yeah, and then he gets the chair shots and everything. They're trying to make Spears an interesting character, and it's not working. Then he gets a phone call from MJF and says, "Hey, we need to go pick up champagne. Yeah, get dressed just like that." Wardlow's eventually going to snap, and they're probably going to have Wardlow versus MJF. I would say it's double or nothing. I don't think they need to rush this. They need to have Punk versus MJF at the pay-per-view, at least in my opinion. And then Ty Conte and Penelope Ford have a pre-tape about a submission match on Rampage. Oh boy. To be fair, Ford has actually improved and does a nice, nice death lock. She does do, some nice submission work and has improved. And Ty Conte is very good, but that's going to be dicey given the fact that the Bunny's probably going to be involved. And then Malachi is at a house, apparently some Spanish villa with some people in, Black Christmas 2019 cloaks and masks. And if you get that, I'm sorry that you watched that movie. But he's like, oh, what makes a house strong or whatever, what makes it the people are the foundation, and talk about accepting violence, that it's a part of your life, it's a part of who you are. And about teachings, and he spits mist in somebody's face, even though if they're wearing a mask, they wouldn't feel it. But now you're more than a king. And this was good, spoopy stuff. I also like the fact of Malachi having that look, and him just wandering around his house or wherever the fuck he was. Just him doing that for no goddamn reason. Greeting the mailman, spitting mist in his face. So, Shida took on Serena Deeb in the rubber match, the grudge match, a jump start, and instant fisting action between two women. I saw a movie like this once. Only Deeb chose better people to associate with as far as marriage, if only. But anyway, as far as wrestling, this was fine. Deeb focused on the knee. Shida kept coming back, but Deeb just kept targeting the knee, beating up the knee, and did get a nice moodle lock, and, got to the apron. Falcon Arrow, deadlift by Shida, that was nice. Deeb does expose the turnbuckle, and even though they tease sending each other into the turnbuckle, eventually Deeb gets sent into it, and the jackknife cover 1, 2, 3. So Shida gets the victory. Okay! And then Shivani interviews the Varsity Blonde. I wonder if Brian Pillman Jr. is going to feel about how he's going to feel about canceling cancel culture when people bring up the fact that he told a lady not to say anything about something that Logan Stunt did, or defended what Teddy Hart did with his girlfriend. Brian Pillman Jr. has one of the best built-in storylines, or best built-in, things for a storyline as far as his upbringing and everything and stuff like that, and he chooses to be a goddamn idiot. Not everybody in wrestling is perfect. Everybody can think the way they fucking want. But if Brian Pillman Jr. actually thinks that way, he's going to burn a whole lot of goddamn bridges. And quickly. So you better hope that his name value can actually carry him. Because pretty soon, Griff Garrison's probably going to end up being seen as the more reliable guy. Griff Garrison cuts more of a promo here. And wants Malachi Black. And he doesn't understand why Brian Pillman Jr. doesn't want to, get revenge for, Julia Hart getting misted in the face. A cheerleader getting misted by a weird Dutchman. I saw that in a movie once. So anyway, we get the recaps of the debut on Rampage of Hook! And I don't have any enthusiasm for the full thing. The full throat is Hook! So anyway, Taz is a very proud papa. And we get Eddie pre-tape on 2.0 and Garcia. He's got his friends with him. Eddie does. And it's going to be a 10-man tag on Rampage. MJF lays into Texas, says, maybe you'd like me more if I was more like you, anti-education and pro-incest. It's funny. I'm not saying everybody in Texas is like that. In fact, I know quite a few people in Texas that are way, way cool people. He knocks Punk's, undefeated streak or whatever. It says, it doesn't make you a contender. I just thought that made you the next Ryback. Ooh. God, given the whole Ryback Punk thing, that was good stuff. So there's shut the fuck up chance. And he says, Dante, you may have the charisma and verbal ability of Helen Keller on Quaaludes, but you're a hell of an athlete. And then Dante comes in. He's all fired up and everything. By the way, the Rampage lineup is going to be Ty Conte versus Penelope Ford in a submission match. The Super Click and Fish against the Best Friends and Romero. And Eddie Kingston, Lucha Bros, Santana Ortiz versus 2.0 Garcia and the Acclaimed. Okay. No women's... Well, oh, wait, right. They're going to have a women's match. It's just probably going to go way too goddamn long because they need to have a fourth match on Rampage. Because some of these matches don't need to go that long. Even if it's 45 minutes without commercials. You can only do so many pre-tapes. Just have some of the have the main event go maybe 10 minutes. And just put a squash match in there and rotate the squash matches out of the people you want to feature. Like, oh, let's feature Wardlow doing something. Let's feature Nyla Rose doing something. Let's not feature Jade doing squash matches because she can barely do that well. So anyway, we get Dante Martin versus MJF. Dynamite, Diamond Ring. Dynamite, Diamond Ring. Easy for me to say. And Dante was using his speed. MJF was cocky, but would, of course, try to take him over with a side headlock takeover, beat him like he did Darby Allin. And Taz was yelling about Dante betraying Team Taz. Dante just making it look easy. Of course, MJF does, do some, nice stuff and some great heel work. Dante does hit a nice drop kick. Shooting star press practically misses, but the knee does hit MJF in the face, so at least that happened. I'm glad that Dante's okay because he kind of crashed and burned. But he had some incredible dives. The guy's got springs in his goddamn legs. He is going to be a big star for AEW, provided he stays virtually injury-free. He hits a moonsault, and MJF's got his foot near the rope, but Stark puts his foot on the ropes, and Stark's like, ha ha ha, ha ha, he got his foot on the rope and everything, and then MJF manages to get the salt of the earth on. He'd been targeting the arm all match and got the victory. And he's the third year in a row he has won the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Okay, I'm a bit shocked they did that. I'm kind of shocked they didn't give it to Dante. They didn't have Punk cost him. But then again, sort of makes sense given what happened. The lights out, and suddenly, because FTR is celebrating with MJF, and the lights go out, and suddenly it's Sting and Darby Allin, because they got attacked in a backstage promo last week, and they are upset FTR. Darby's doing what he can, and Grandpa Sting is trying to do what he can, and MJF's, beating him up, and then Punk comes out to a pop, and I love the Punk shirt. It has, female reproductive organs, basically. It says, get your own, then tell it what to do. In Texas. I want to say right now, I'm not saying everybody in Texas feels the same way. And however you feel about abortion, your business. It's your goddamn business. I'm on the side that women should, I'm on the pro-choice side because women should be able to do what they fucking want with their bodies. And if you want to be pro-life, fine. Come up with programs and come up with a way for women who get pregnant to be able to take care of those kids and not just shove them out. Oh, we'll take care of that kid and everything. And then once the kid's born, they call them unwed mothers and they call them a whole bunch of things and a whole bunch of bullshit and whatever and treat them like the dregs of society. Actually treat people properly. Make sure you take care of the citizens, and you can do that kind of stuff. But personally, women have the right to choose what they do with their bodies. You stupid goddamn inbred twats. And I'm not talking about Texas. I'm talking about anybody in general. So now that I'm off my soapbox there, and I'm pretty certain I pissed off a whole bunch of people, like I give a shit because this is my channel, it's a six-man tag next week. It's going to be Punk, Darby, and Sting against FTR and MJF. Okay, they're teasing. Finally, we're going to get some brief interaction. That's fine. Overall, pretty damn good Dynamite. Okay, did I love everything? No, but I loved the vast majority of it. And that 60-minute Iron Man match, even though it wasn't an Iron Man match, was just really, really fucking good shit. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.